This is Angelo Badalamenti doing stuff from Twin Peaks. This title track is called Teresa's Autopsy. It's a little creepy. I figured for the 1st of October, first show of October, I was going to do, I think this week, this month, I'll do all Halloween type of songs. That's on my Halloween playlist. And I figured it was equally kind of creepy for this show because this is a creepy show. That's why it's called Dylan Knows. And how the hell are y'all doing today? So this is a weird time, isn't it? 9:13 on a Sunday. And normally this would be 24 hours earlier at 9:13 on a Saturday. But a few things popped up. Saturday, I've talked about the Snark Alex before. Sci-Fi has started their Halloween countdown as well. They have 31 days of Halloween. And they are bringing back the sci-fi movies for the whole month of October. They actually look like they've got 2 yesterday. They have 2 next week, it looks like. And I don't know if they have 2 for the rest of the time here. But didn't watch the first one called You Might Be the Killer. That was on from 7 to 9 because that is dinner and kids' bath time, stuff like that. So I missed out on that. It starred Allison Hannigan, and I've heard it was pretty good. And then the second one was No Escape Room. And that one was interesting. Got some interactions with, I believe, one of the actors and maybe the producer or director of it. So that was kind of interesting as well. And we had some people, but it was one of those films that I wasn't feeling 100%, and I'm still not feeling 100%. I woke up on Friday with a terrible sinus headache. And it's still lingering around. That's why it's called episode 263, Sunday Night Sinus. It's funny. I saw my dad today. I told him about that. I was like, yep, sounds like something you inherited from me because my dad had a lot of sinus problems as well. He also has kidney stones. So I was like, I hope I don't have kidney stones. I don't want to inherit those. So we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, so last night I wanted to watch No Escape Room. I kind of wish I was doing this show instead because it was okay, but it was just stuff we'd seen before. I think last year was a similar one where these kids went to this house that was supposed to be haunted, and they were trapped in the house and they couldn't get out, and like they ended up like staying there forever. And then it was like a twist ending and stuff like that. This one was taking the idea of escape room and surprisingly not making it like Saw, which a lot of people thought this was going to be a lot like Saw because, Saw pretty much is like a no escape room. It's an escape room with torture in it. So that's what a lot of people thought that this one was going to be about. Instead, it's just a lot of just weird visuals and flashing lights and musical cues and weird movement and strange dreams and crazy stuff and time travel and all kinds of weird stuff. And it was just weird, and I wasn't feeling particularly good, so I don't think my tweets were all that great. And there were periods of time where I wasn't tweeting on anything. So that's why I didn't do it last night. And then this afternoon, as I mentioned before, I went to see my stepmom and my dad. My stepmom's mother passed away a couple weeks ago. So she wanted to, she's not over, but she's accepted and things are moving on. And she wanted to see her grandkids because she's going to be having some bunion surgery later in December, in like November, something like that. So she won't be able to walk and do a lot of stuff for a while. So she wanted to see the kids before Christmas, I guess, and when she could still do stuff. So we went to a place called Weber Cider Mill. Where they make obviously apple cider. They have pumpkins. They have a little kids area, which was, to me, it seemed more geared towards younger kids, not really my kids. My kids enjoyed it a little bit, but I think they were more bored with it. Or it could have been the fact that it was 85 freaking degrees here in Maryland on October 7th, right? Today's the 7th, right? 4th, 5th, yeah, October 7th. So it just was hot and disgusting. And then I'm looking at the forecast for the upcoming 10 days. And we're going to get back to some fall stuff here. 79 tomorrow, 79 Tuesday, 80 Wednesday, 75 Thursday, 59 Friday, 58 Saturday, 62 Sunday, 59 Monday, 57 Tuesday. So we got some 50s coming up, which is, that takes you to about mid-October, and that's what you expect to see around that time. I do have one viewer. Thank you for watching, viewer. I was really not expecting any viewers because this is also the premiere of The Walking Dead. I've given up on The Walking Dead. I've been the biggest proponent of The Walking Dead for the longest time, but I've given up on it, and I haven't watched most of last season, and I'm not going to start over fresh with this season. And I need to do this show. Some bad, or not bad, but some sad news in the Walking Dead world. Scott Wilson, actor who played Herschel and was also in a bunch of other movies as well, passed away yesterday. It was very sad. He was a wonderful actor, did a wonderful character actor, did a whole bunch of different roles. Now, I remember him from Chiller, the Chiller show, Chiller Station used to do. Yeah, Scott said you almost didn't have a viewer. Yeah, I know, Scott. It's just I was just planning on trying to get in and out of here, and you guys can watch it during next week. But hey, I'm glad I got 2 viewers now, so I'm glad you guys are watching. So thank you. But Scott Wilson played Herschel, and I also remember when Chiller used to show movies on Friday nights called what we called Scary Social, and we would watch those. And there was one that he did, which was actually really, really good, about a guy who was training to be a serial killer or something like that, and he went to Scott Wilson and asked him for advice on how to become a serial killer. So it's kind of interesting. So I've seen him in a few different things, but it's awfully sad. He was 76 years old, and but he's most well known by most people as Herschel, and I'm sure they'll probably be doing a homage to him on Talking Dead tonight after The Walking Dead, and I don't know if they had enough time to do an in memoriam thing for this week's episode of Walking Dead. It'll probably be on next week's if they can't get it on this week. So, but he supposedly filmed scenes for this 9th season, so you might actually see Scott's final performances on Walking Dead this season. So I think I read that somewhere that he was coming back along with, John Bernthal as Shane was becoming back also. This is a changing of the guard. Rick is leaving, Maggie's leaving, that type of stuff. And so I guess they want to bring in as many people as they could to have sort of a farewell. Michael Cudlitz is directing an episode this season. So good stuff like that. So should be interesting for those who are still watching, but it's sad to see Scott die, but it'll be interesting to see him in the show. It reminded me a lot of Twin Peaks season 3, which filmed a couple years ago, and then they released it last year. Miguel Ferrer died before it came out, but he was a huge part of the new Twin Peaks season, and it was Catherine Coulson, who played the log lady. She also died before season 3 came out, and she played a pretty good role in the series as well. So it was good to see some of their last work as well in Twin Peaks. So Scott Wilson will be missed, and we'll see him again on Walking Dead very soon. So what do we got going on this week to get you guys to stick around? I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible because it is Sunday, despite the fact that I feel like poo. It'll see how I feel in the morning, but I think I'm getting better. I feel better than I did on Friday. So I got to get to bed soon because I got to get up early tomorrow. I get up at 5:15-ish on the weekdays. We're going to talk about some love, some sex, some drinking, animals, which are really kind of some interesting things animals doing, and maybe it's a sign of the animals are coming to get us. Trailers, art that self-destructs, pickle pizza, sea turtles, Pokemon Go, of course, Barbie movie, Hershey Park news, Marvel Comics, not Marvel, DC Comics has a new imprint, orgasms, ghost stabbing people and setting them up with meth. Being in a happy relationship makes you fat. Some update on the Curiosity rover, pretty good stuff. A sad ending to a Japanese lander. Toys R Us might be coming back. Rosie Perez is cast in a DC movie. Interesting. And the DC TV series Doom Patrol gains another really interesting actor, and it's making me want to go, might be good like that. Fantasy is going to make a huge comeback on TV in the next year or so. Got some news about that. Self-delivering pizzas, Goblin Planets, Lady Gaga, West Side Story, deaths besides Scott's. There's another death that happened this week that a lot of people probably don't know about, but went under their heads. And finally, just the last teaser, mosquitoes 3 times the size of a regular size mosquito are in the news. So let's start at the top and let's just work our way down here. Boom, and see if we can get this done quicker. Let's see if I can get this done in less than 2 hours. All right, you ready, Scott? All right, I had a second viewer. They disappeared. They're like, oh, not this guy. I got to watch Walking Dead instead. So here we go. Oh, by the way, Halloween, like my Halloween action figures. It's Loomis and Mike Myers. That movie comes out next week. Not this week. Next week. Yes, next week. 19th, I believe. All right. 2 female contestants on The Bachelor Vietnam, excuse me, leave the show after falling in love with each other. Love always, seems to have a problem blooming on the reality shows like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. In this case, love bloomed between two of the bachelorettes trying to get the bachelor, and they're happier together than they are with the bachelor. So they found each other, and they both left the show because they fell in love with each other. So you know what? Let's hope maybe that's one of the relationships that will last long, because I don't think there have been a lot in these types of shows. Maybe one that I can think of off the top of my head. The Romeo of Rimini, a man dubbed this after sleeping with 6,000 women, dies during sex at the age of 68. He looks like Vince Neil. By the time I saw the picture of this guy, I was like, wow, is this Vince Neil? Or no, it's this dude I don't know his name is. But the Romeo of Rimini slept with over 6,000 women, died while having sex at the age of 68. My God. So glad you could get it up, I suppose. Gotta love Florida. Gotta love Florida. Got the great stories from Florida. Drunk, naked Florida man burns down his house after trying to bake cookies on a grill. Now, I'm still trying to figure out how that could have happened and how you're going to cook cookies on a grill. Now, I think it's feasible because the grill you have, the grating is the part that's hot. And you don't want to put the cookie dough on that because that shit's going to melt through there, and it's not going to, because there's nothing in there. But if you put it maybe on a tray like you do when you put them in the oven and put it on the grill, the heat from the grill will heat up the bottom of that pan, and you could probably conceivably cook them on the grill. I mean, I guess, if you also close the lid and you get the vacuum, the heat vacuuming up and no place to go and it stays in there, you get it from down and up. That might actually be okay. But how the hell do you burn down your house after trying to bake cookies on a grill? Makes no sense whatsoever. I'm getting really into the sex early because I know it's 9:30, but let's just jump into that stuff because that's what I was here about. Just saw this literally, not 5 minutes, but about an hour before I was going to do this show. So I did one last look, since that's the one good thing about doing it late on Sunday is you can get up-to-date news where stuff like this probably wouldn't have gone on to the show until next week. But I got it on today. Everybody knows about the wine advent calendars that are going to be at all the grocery stores. They were only available overseas, but they're now going to be in America this year, except probably in Maryland because we don't sell alcohol at grocery stores. So we'll probably not get our chance to see that. But if you go anywhere else, Pennsylvania, Virginia, they sell alcohol at their grocery stores. You'll be able to get an Aldi wine advent calendar. However, that's not the story. The story is they now have a sex toy advent calendar, which in and of itself is kind of good, because one of the other stories that I don't think I actually have it on here, but I've seen it before on Facebook before, is that there's reports that you should have sex every day. So I guess this is kind of good because, with an advent calendar, despite the fact that you don't necessarily start it on Advent and do it for the whole of Advent, you do it basically on December 1st to December 25th. You once a day, you get a sex toy. So I guess you could use it to have sex every day, like studies say will help you live longer. So huzzah for sex toys. I should call the episode that, huzzah for sex toys. This is just stupid. There is now a cell phone case that looks like a gun. Now, the way it looks is the phone, Scott says, sex every day sounds too much like work. Yeah, okay. I guess I can say that. The way that these cell phone cases will be, this part will be, that covers the phone will be the part of the gun, and then the handle sticks down here, so that when you're putting your phone in your back pocket, the handle sticks out, looks like you have a gun in your pocket, and you can pull it up and go, hello. But you just know, because people are stupid, that other people are going to see that and say, oh my God, they have a gun. They're going to call the police. The police are going to come. They're going to shoot somebody and kill them because they think it's a gun. It's like, hey, hey, it's just my phone. Bam, they're dead. That's just bad idea, dumb idea, and dangerous idea. On the flip side, a good idea for a cell phone case. I know I have that story somewhere around here. And if I can't find it in like 2 seconds, I'll let you know, and then I'll find it. There it is. There's now also a bubble wrap phone case, which is actually better probably for you because A, it doesn't look like a gun, and B, everyone loves bubble wrap, the little bubble things, and so your phone, you got the thing on the phone, and it'll bounce, it'll help protect your phone, and then you sit there and go pop 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 pop. Now that would be annoying also, so people are going to pull out their gun cell phone cases and pretend to shoot you. So we'll see what happens. But that's an interesting. That's one good cell phone design and one bad cell phone design, cell phone case design. This week was New York Comic-Con. I've never liked New York, and they tried too hard to be like San Diego. It was announced at NYCC, and also some stuff was seen that we didn't get a chance to see, special convention exclusives. I talked about this movie last week because they moved the release date to April. But Hellboy, the new version of Hellboy with David Harbour from Stranger Things, had their first trailer appear just at Comic-Con. They have not released it online. I would assume that it would be imminent this week sometime. They would probably release the trailer online. They released also a couple of posters. One of David Harbour by himself that says legendary AF as fuck, which looks really, really cool. I'm really excited for that. I like how it looks. Then they released one like with the whole cast on it, and that one looks good also. So I'm looking forward to Hellboy. Should be a blast. I'm thinking my daughter and I have our annual movie marathon coming up in 2 weeks. I'm still trying to lay out the film festival ideas, what films I want to show her. And I'm trying to do more of a Halloween type of thing. Hellboy, the original film by Guillermo del Toro, might actually be a good one to show her. She's never seen it before. She likes superhero movies, and it's got a Halloween vibe to it. So it's got a lot of questions and some we call cinema sins. But I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be an excellent film. I know a lot of people wanted to see Ron Perlman come back and Guillermo del Toro to do their third one. I like Ron Perlman's Hellboy as well, and I kind of like Guillermo's take on it. But at the same time, though, I didn't like the fact that they turned Hellboy more into a romantic type of story, as if, demon hunting wouldn't draw the women in to see it with them. But this David Harbour version looks more like the actual comic, which is more of a Hellboy investigating demonic stuff and hopefully in horror stuff. So hopefully that'll be good. Speaking of NYCC, better get into this as well. Brian Michael Bendis, who I've had some issues with when he moved over to DC and has been writing Superman, and I've been okay with the Superman stuff. It hasn't blown me away, but I'm still collecting it. So there's that. I was thinking I'd only collect the first few issues and then I'd be done with it, but I'm still hanging out with it. And I've read some of it, and it's okay. It's not fantastic, but DC just seems to be, opening up everything for him. He's got his own imprint starting up again that he had before, and he's doing some other stuff as well. Well, he has another imprint coming up. This one's called Wonder Comics. It's going to be more of a younger, I guess, more focused on the teenagers, which is in and of itself a really good idea because you want to try to get more people into comics. And I've talked about this before as well. The comic industry right now is surviving due to people like me and MJ, who have grown up collecting comics our whole lives. And now that we're grown-ups and we have our own disposable income, we can continue to buy it and not, be dependent upon our parents to buy stuff. So, but that's only going to last so long because, eventually disposable income starts disappearing, particularly when you have kids, you've got to buy a house, get married, whatever. So it starts to dwindle a little bit. And at the same time, though, they're getting older. So death is inevitable. Anyway, so they're trying to get younger people into comics so that they will continue to buy as they grow older as well. So they're releasing 4 series right now. The Return of Young Justice, which was fantastic when Peter David wrote it in the 1990s, but now they're doing a version of it now. I think Bendis is writing it with Patrick Gleason, which is a really good duo because I like Patrick Gleason, and we'll see how Bendis can do it. But it's Tim Drake, Robin, Superboy, and Impulse, and also Teen Lantern is going to be in that as well. They're bringing the Wonder Twins to the DC universe proper and they're getting their own series. Dial H for Hero, which has always been one of those really interesting comics that has never really gotten much traction, though it should, because you can create any character you want and it can be totally different every issue, which is great. And then finally something called Naomi, which I don't really know much about, which I think is a brand new character. So these are the first 4 books from the Wonder Comics imprint. This stuff's coming out in January. So still got a little bit of time before they come out, but they announced it at NYCC this weekend. They also announced Margot Robbie, who is Harley Quinn, will be playing Barbie in a live-action Barbie movie, which to me, actually, she looks like Barbie. She's got the blonde hair. She's got the nice, and she's, fairly tall and looks like Barbie. So, hey, why not? So that'll be good. What the hell did I write? Oh, heated. Okay. Now that I figured this out, I'm just going to read this. Heated narwhal slippers from Amazon are going to be the holiday present of the year. Everybody loves narwhals, and these are these soft, cuddly little narwhal slippers with a little unicorn horn sticking out that are heated. I might actually have to look and see what the price is on them and get some for my wife and my daughter because they think that the narwhals are very, very cute. So kind of a sad and scary story. A man dies or is killed by brain-eating amoeba after swimming in a Texas wave pool. Now, one of my friends on Facebook actually knows the family, and they're devastated by this. But that's just a brain-eating amoeba in a wave pool that everybody goes into. I guess entered this person's body through his mouth or nose and entered his brain and killed him. And that shit's scary. Microscopic amoeba-type creatures that'll eat your brain. It's almost like the flesh-eating virus is also crazy there. So More things to worry about in the future. And again, it's one of these things that it's so random. I mean, it's terrible. Don't get me wrong; it's a terrible event. But who would have thought that they would die from a brain-eating amoeba in a Texas wave pool? That's the way you would go. It really it like blindsides you, and it's kind of scary. Um, a guy built himself a boyfriend from boxed wine, and now they are engaged. Now, I thought this was an Onion article, but it's not. A guy, I guess, who was having trouble finding love just created a boyfriend out of boxed wine, and they're engaged to be married. Oh, Dawn's cooking popcorn. I don't know what to say to that. That's why I put it on my show. I have nothing to say and nothing to add. Let's talk about some food then, real quick, because I got a whole bunch of animal things I'm going to do next after that. Food. I teased it at the beginning of the show, and this just makes me want to vomit. Pickle pizza. Now, here's something funny. My name's Dylan. My nickname through elementary and middle school. Let's see what Scott says. I have no words either. Hashtag box wine boyfriend. Yes, yeah. Here's you, Scott. It's good we're on the same wavelength here. Through elementary school, middle school, I was nicknamed Dill Pickle. And I had no problem with that. It's fine. It really is fine. It was not, to me, it did not seem like an insulting nickname. My, did she call me that? She called me, no, my cousin calls me Dilly. So, but anyway, regardless, elementary school, middle school, my nickname was Dill Pickle. Elementary school, middle school kids are young. They know dill pickles. Dylan's my name. It was a unusual name during that time because not a lot of people were named Dylan at that time. Now, I'm just like everybody else now. Anyway, but I never liked pickles. And it wasn't because of the nickname. Because, again, I did not feel it when they used it on me. I did not feel it as being an insult. Because it was a lot of times it was my actual friends who called me that also. I've tried pickles before, and I really don't like them. And that's okay. You can have, likes and dislikes. Ooh, Pinky. Okay, she just retweeted my stuff. But I have a friend at work who absolutely loves pickles. My mom likes pickles. She makes her own actually during the summer. But you can make anything into pizza nowadays, I guess. And this is a new thing, was a pickle pizza. And I guess, some people put pickles on hot dogs, obviously on hamburgers as well. Because it's basically, you can put regular pickles on it, but you can also do relish, which is kind of a pickly type of thing anyway. But a pickle pizza just does not sound enticing to me. And yeah, nothing else to say about that. Go down, hit your local Walmart this month. Let's see what Scott has to say. Pickles are awesome, but they don't belong on a pizza. Okay, Scott, see, as I said, everybody likes pizza. Everybody likes pizza. Not everybody likes pickles. And no, some people do, some people don't. So, okay, they do not belong on a pizza, and I agree with that. They don't belong anywhere, but that's just me. Head on down to Walmart this month. Try something new. This actually sounds enticing, particularly if you have a sweet tooth. The Three Musketeers candy bar, chocolate and nougat. There's no caramel, no nothing. You bite into it, just sort of like eating chocolate air, and it tastes good. I like it. Three Musketeers is good. I prefer a little bit of caramel and stuff like that in my candy bars, or peanut butter for peanut butter Reese's cups and stuff like that. But no, Three Musketeers is, if I got Three Musketeers in my Halloween candy, I'm not throwing it out. If we give out Three Musketeers and we have some left over, I'm not going to leave that to no one. I'm going to start eating that shit either. I'm going to start eating that shit all the time because I like it. It tastes good. Well, now they have birthday cake flavored Three Musketeers. Now, birthday cake flavoring is another one of these things that's been kind of big recently. You have the birthday cake Oreos, which actually are pretty good. My place, the Cow, which gets me Italian ice and ice cream and stuff like that if you want. There is a birthday cake Italian ice, which actually tastes pretty good as well. And there's all kinds of birthday cake stuff as well. But a Three Musketeers birthday cake is one of the things that I might actually go down to a Walmart sometime and actually pick up a bar to see what it tastes like, see if it's any good. So you can have your cake and eat your chocolate too. Speaking of chocolate, I love Hershey Park. People who've watched this show, Scott particularly, know I like Hershey Park. I talk about Hershey Park a lot because, in my opinion, it is probably the best amusement park in this general area. Now, I know everybody loves Disney. I've never been to Disney, so I can't say what my view on that is. I've never been there. But if you look at the Six Flags and the Whitewater Canyons and Busch Gardens and stuff like that that are around this general area, Hershey Park. I like Hershey Park miles more than that. Busch Gardens comes in second. Six Flags is just terrible. I'm sorry. I mean, if you like Six Flags, that's great. But I look not just at like rides and concessions, stuff like that, but I like to look at the cleanliness of it, the helpfulness of the staff, if security is around, in case there are people who are getting a little rowdy, that type of stuff. And Hershey Park has all that in spades. Their bathrooms are immaculate. I mean, they really are. They're great, and the concession stands are great, and it's really in a nice area. It's not a bad drive for us. It's 90 minutes, pretty straightforward drive. Go past Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which isn't that far from us. It's about an hour away, and you go through York, which is not great, but still you get into Hershey, and Hershey's just fantastic. The chocolate world is great, and the park itself is great, and they have all levels of rides for kids. They have a water park during the summer if you want to do that. They do Halloween and Christmas stuff. And yes, because they are affiliated with Hershey, they have a lot of chocolate stuff and candy and stuff like that, and that's just as cool too. There's a zoo there as well. And they're constantly changing up stuff. They've added some new rides over the last couple years. 2 years ago, they added new tower rides. And then this year, they added a new water roller coaster type thing, water slide type of race thing, and something else as well. So some really good stuff. And I've had no problems. I've had no issues with any of the staff there. Security is always around, and it is a very clean park. And that's what really does it for me. Well, just learned that they are going to be creating a new 23-acre development, adding on a new 23-acre development to Hershey Park to open, I believe they say, in 2020. It's going to be called Chocolate Town, and it's going to have like chocolate fountain, and it'll have the world's biggest, as of then, roller coaster and stuff like that. They're going to have all kinds of not just rides and stuff like that, but food and interesting shops and stuff like that. So Chocolate Town is coming to Hershey Park in a few years. I guess next time we go up there will be next year. We go up there about twice a year. We'll be going up there probably next spring because Dawn's company takes over the park. They're not the only one. When it's off season, companies rent out the park basically. And Hershey Park, to make it worth their while, they rent it out to like 3 or 4 companies every weekend or every day on the weekend, like a Saturday and a Sunday. That way it's good enough for them to bring people in and get all their rides going. Now, obviously, the water park isn't open during the spring because it's too chilly. But, and not all the concessions will be open and not all the stores will be open, but most of the rides are going to be open, and there will be concession stands open for people who want to eat. But they also, most places, companies will rent out pavilions for their employees and stuff like that. So we do that in the spring, and then we always do one in late summer right around my son's birthday. So we do the water park and stuff like that. And usually we stay up there at a hotel and then go in the next day and stuff like that. But so that should be an entertaining thing when that comes up. So it'll be worth our while, I guess. This I thought was a Onion article also, but this is true also. A design graduate designs a gun that transforms tears into bullets. At least I think it's not. I don't think it was an Onion article. That just seems kind of odd. Tears into bullets, and it was weird enough that I had to mention it on the show, obviously. So that's good. Hey, let's talk about animals. We got lots of animal stories. I love animal stories. These are the good animal stories, or they're the funny ones, not the weird, bizarre sex animal stories, which we haven't done. That seems to be permeating recently, but this isn't anything like that. First up, Ethiopian baboons, which look like any regular baboons, but they're from Ethiopia, and this is where it's happening, are domesticating wolves. People have been seeing them in the presence of wolves and riding on wolves. And I mean, there's pictures of them. It's not like it's fake news or anything like that. It's a real story. And I guess it kind of makes sense because monkeys and humans are very close in their genetic structures and in their brain capacities, I suppose. So if a monkey's like, you know what, it's like a dog type of thing, and they're used to having pets and stuff like that. They see these wolves and they're able to, convince them not to eat them, but to help them do stuff. Maybe it's like if we work together as a team, we can get more food, that type of thing. They're domesticating wolves in Ethiopia. Baboons are. I'm telling you, something's going on in the animal world. They're going to start. Maybe they're getting ready to evolve now. I don't know. Because we also have this. Where did I have that article? Monkey steers a bus full of passengers. The guy who's the bus driver, it was his pet monkey. It was like a capuchin type monkey. So it's not like a baboon or gorilla or anything like that. It was a smaller monkey, but it was like his pet. And he was a bus driver. And he brought his pet with him to work, bring your monkey to work day, I guess, is an event, And there are pictures of him, sort of standing back while the monkey is steering the wheel with passengers in the bus. Now, the guy's been fired because that's putting human lives in danger. But from what we've been hearing, the monkey actually did a pretty good job steering the car. But regardless, you can't have that kind of stuff going on. But again, they're domesticating animals and they're driving. What else can we think of? Let's talk about mountain goats. Aggressive mountain goats. I love this headline. In Olympic National Park. I think that's up in Washington State, I think. Aggressive mountain goats are thirsting for human pee and sweat. They want to drink your pee and they want to lick your sweat. Now, dogs lick sweat. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law, they had a dog, a bulldog. She passed away a few weeks ago. Who, like during the summer when I'd be over their house, visit for a visit or whatever, and I'd be sweating a little bit, I'd feel this rough tongue. She'd be licking the sweat off my legs. And she's done that a few times before. But these aggressive mountain goats are like attacking people and trying to drink their pee and their sweat. They're getting a taste for human flesh. well, not flesh, but they're beginning to get the taste of something human related. See, some's coming. I'm telling you. Here's another good one. A gecko, little gecko, little lizard thing about this big, has been discovered calling numerous veterinarians on their phones. Let's give you the background of the story. I don't remember where the location place, but there was a vet office, and one of the vets was getting phone calls, a lot of them, over and over and over again. And when she answered them, nobody was on the line. So she thought maybe it was, telemarketers or whatever. And then other people in the office were getting phone calls also, and the same thing was happening. There was no sound, no talking, no sound whatsoever. Again, telemarketers was the first one, because you ever get a telemarketer, you pick up the phone, hello, and there's a pause for like 5 seconds, and then they connect because they're robocalling. If nobody answers, boom, they're going to the next one. Boom, they're going to the next one. But if somebody answers, they're like, oh shit, we gotta get on the phone, and then they get on the phone. I'm not looking forward to a real life zoo situation based on the TV show and book, yes, of animals attacking. Animosity is another good comic you might want to check out. If you like the zoo, Scott, Animosity, which is a comic from Aftershock Studios, has a similar theme about one day, just like that, animals could talk and have human emotions and stuff like that. And eventually it's about them taking over the world. It's really quite good. But anyway, so eventually they called, it was Hawaii. That's where it was. They called the Hawaiian phone company, who I guess catered to their phone systems at the veterinary hospital. And they're saying, can you check and see what's going on? Is there a way, if these are, if it is a telemarketer, can we block them? Can you tell us what to do? Blah, blah, blah. So the guy comes out and he says, the phone calls are coming from within the hospital. So now you get officers like, oh man, this is going to be like some sort of horror film. If somebody's calling from within the hospital. So a woman's going around trying to find all this stuff. Eventually she discovers the culprit, as I said, was a little gecko who was on top of a touchscreen telephone, and I guess was clicking on, when he was walking across it, he was clicking on the buttons, and I guess the phone numbers were up there, and that's why it was calling all the different people. So now we have baboons domesticating wolves. We have monkeys driving cars. We have mountain goats who are thirsting for human pee and sweat. And we have geckos who can make phone calls. Something's coming. The animals are coming. This is not an animal story like that, but it's an interesting one. And it's a good story. I live in Maryland. Obviously, those who watch my show, they know. I'm very proud of my Maryland heritage. Maryland has been known as America in miniature because we have everything. We have big cities, we have beaches, we have mountains, we have plains, we have countryside, farmland, stuff like that. We have beaches. Ocean City, Maryland is a big resort area. And we also have beaches along the Chesapeake Bay as well. Well, in this case, this is Assateague Island. Now, people might know Assateague from Misty of Assateague. It was a young adult book that a lot of kids had to read in elementary school or middle school, one of those two. And it was about the wild horses that live on Assateague Island, which are near or between Salisbury and Ocean City. And they live on Assateague Island, and they cross over every year to the other side or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I've never been down there for that. And I think I've seen them once, and I was younger when I saw that. But this year, for the first time in Maryland history ever, sea turtles hatched on Assateague Island. So obviously some sea turtles came, laid their eggs on the Assateague Island beach, and you see the whole thing. They come out of their eggs, and the little guys try to swim to the ocean. And it's actually not a bad area because their predators are not really around. I mean, the birds might still be around and they might see them, but they're not as bad or as prevalent as the other areas where the sea turtles have their things. So that might be a new thing now, where we're going to start having sea turtles hatching in Maryland. And that's a good thing because we always could use more sea turtles. On the flip side, due to the hurricane, North Carolina is suffering from mosquitoes 3 times the size of normal mosquitoes. And they had a picture of it. It was like the monster mosquitoes are this big and the regular ones are like this big. Not sure exactly how or why that happens, but it does. And it's a shame. See if there's any more animal stories, or that's all the animal stories for this week. Looks like it might be all the animal stories for the week. It is. We're going to switch gears now. Again, I probably should have connected this to the New York City Comic-Con thread I did not too long ago, about 20 minutes ago, I guess you would say. But there were a number of trailers that were released at New York Comic-Con this week. Hellboy we haven't seen yet. Hopefully they'll release that this week, and we'll be able to talk about that next week. But the new Aquaman extended trailer, it was a 5-minute extended trailer, was released this week. The Good Omens trailer was released this week, and the Daredevil Season 3 Netflix series trailer was released this week. I've never been a big fan of Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and I've always thought that it was badly cast and didn't have my interest. And they announced the Aquaman movie, and I was like, not really any desire to see it because I really had no desire to see any of the DC movies. I saw the first trailer. I was like, okay, this isn't too bad. It looks pretty good. It looks like they got a good feeling for it. Well, this extended trailer looks really, really good. And am I going to be changing my mind? I'm still not a big fan of Jason Momoa being Aquaman, but this film actually looks like it could be a lot of fun, and it could be getting DC back on track. They had Wonder Woman, which did really successful for them. And now you're going to have Aquaman. Looks pretty good. You've got Shazam next year. Looks pretty good also. You've got the Birds of Prey movie, which I'm going to talk about in 1 second. Not 1 second. That's in Dylan seconds, which means about a couple minutes. You got that coming up as well. And so a lot of people are thinking, okay, they're starting to turn the page now. They're beginning to get, and then the Wonder Woman sequel actually comes out next year as well. So you are the DC starting to get how to make these superhero type movies. So I looked at the Aquaman trailer. It looks really good. It looks action packed. Looks like it's a lot of fun. They look like they got the characters down pretty good. The underwater stuff looks really neat. It might have changed my mind a little bit. I might not see it in the movie theater, but it does look a bit better than I thought it would be. And so I might have to give it a little bit more leeway. So, yeah, and then that dumb Joker movie, which I'm not even going to talk about, is another thing that looks good from what we've seen so far. But again, it seems like it's a ridiculous waste of money because we don't need a Joker movie, but that's besides the point. So it looks good. If you haven't seen it yet, go check YouTube, type in Aquaman extended trailer. It's like 5.5 minutes long, and you get a general idea. You get some about 2 or 3 minute scenes that play out in real time type of stuff. But it is a extended trailer, so it's a little bit longer than your typical trailer because they do have these scenes that play out a little bit. So you get a general idea of what the ebb and flow of the movie is going to be like. Good Omens is a book written by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett, 2 masters of fantasy and science fiction. This came out back in, I think it was like the late 80s, early 90s. It's like the first book I'd ever really heard of Neil Gaiman doing. This before he was working on Sandman, which really brought him into the forefront. At that time, Terry Pratchett was a pretty good fantasy writer, so that was what I think drew a lot more people to it. Regardless, I got it at the bookstore. It was a hardcover book. It's about 300 some pages long for $18.95. I got my copy out because I'm going to let a friend borrow it. And the reason why I got it was because Terry Gilliam was supposed to do a film version of it with Robin Williams and Johnny Depp. And I think that would have been an excellent film if they could have done it. So I wanted to read the book first before I saw the movies. Okay, Scott says, Good Omens is my favorite book. I read it at least once a year. Read it at least once a year. Yeah, I haven't read it in a few years, and I promised my friend I'd let him borrow. I was like, man, why did I say that? Because I want to read it again. I might have to buy myself a softback, a paperback copy, because I got the original hardback copy of it. So they've been trying to get it into movies or TV shows for the longest time. They've had various cast members attached to it, but things never worked out. So it didn't quite work out until eventually when we had this huge Netflix, Hulu, Amazon type of thing, where all of a sudden it's cool to spend money on miniseries or TV shows and stream them on your streaming service. Netflix was the first one to really, kick it to the ground. Hulu's starting to pick it up, and now Amazon's starting to pick it up. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some more Amazon stuff that they've got coming their way really soon. So they eventually were able to get David Tennant, who played the 10th Doctor in Doctor Who, and also the Purple Man in the first season, Jessica Jones, and was in the Harry Potter series, and he's been in a whole bunch of movies, stuff like that. Broadchurch is another one that he's done before. And Michael Sheen, they cast them in this Amazon streaming service series. I don't know how many episodes it is, and I think it's just a one and done miniseries. But they got some top talent to do it, and Neil Gaiman is writing the scripts for all the episodes. So the co-writer of the book is writing the scripts for the TV show based upon the book that he co-wrote. So that looks good too. They finally released the first trailer of that, and it looks exactly the way it's supposed to. For those who don't know, Scott knows because he reads it at least once a year, which is great because it is a really good book. The basic premise, without revealing too many spoilers, is David Tennant plays a demon. Michael Sheen plays an angel who have human forms on Earth, and they are just chilling on Earth, just having a good old time, living forever, just doing their thing, and enjoying life on Earth and being on Earth. And they're kind of friends, but kind of not friends, that type of thing, when they get the message. This is it, guys. Armageddon is upon us. It's time to end this world and move on, bring about the end of days. And the demon Crowley and the angel Azrael, I think, look at each other and go, no, because we like this planet and we want to live here and stay here and not destroy it. So they try to come up with an idea on how to save the world from Armageddon. It's a comedy, fantasy film, and it's really a good book. And it looks like it's going to be a good series. And I'm Amazon Prime person, so I will probably be able to check that out. I would probably watch it when they release it. It's supposed to be released this year, I think. I think that's what I read, or maybe it said 2019. But it's coming up soon, so I'm going to watch that too. And speaking of Netflix, Daredevil Season 3 trailer, we get the first real extended view of that. Looks like they're doing a variation on the Born Again storyline, with the Kingpin getting out of prison and going legit, but at the same time wants to destroy Daredevil. And this isn't really a spoiler because it's all over the place. Bullseye will be coming in, which is Daredevil's big bad guy. And there's all kinds of stuff. So it looks pretty good for the Netflix trailers for that one. So you can check that out. You can check out all these trailers. Go to YouTube and just type in Good Omens, Aquaman, Daredevil Season 3, and you'll see that. Speaking of Netflix and Amazon, I think it's on the other page here. Yes, Amazon has gotten the rights to The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, which is a fantasy series. They're going to be doing a TV series based on The Wheel of Time, which happens to be one of Dawn's favorite fantasy novel series. So they will be doing a film version of The Wheel of Time, or not film, TV version of it. There's about 8 to 10 books, I think, maybe more in the Wheel of Time saga. So you've got plenty of, Game of Thrones S type of stuff you can go through with that. And if it's successful, Amazon will probably keep on doing it. Netflix, meanwhile, has picked up the rights to do Chronicles of Narnia movies and TV shows. Maybe do reboots of the series, and eventually maybe get every book created in one form or another, either in a book or a TV series, miniseries, whatever, to get the whole storyline like that. Like the first couple you could probably do just as a movie, but once you get into the later ones where the stories get a little bit more complex and bigger, maybe then you might need to go out to a mini series or whatever. So that's coming up as well. And also more news from NYCC about the Dark Crystal Netflix prequel that they will be airing next year, the TV show about that. Again, Dawn loves the Dark Crystal, so she's excited for that as well. They are going to be using all puppets and no CGI. So that in and of itself makes you want to go see it as well. So a lot of good stuff coming up on Amazon and Netflix, and I'm sure there's some stuff coming up on Hulu. I just haven't seen it yet. The feel-good story of the day. Not really. You probably have heard this story too. Toddler finds an envelope, decides, hey, I'm going to put this through the shredder because it makes a cool noise and it turns into this cool stuff I can play with, and this paper, and I'm blah, blah. So this toddler grabs this envelope and stuffs it in the shredder. What the toddler didn't know was that envelope had over $1,000 that the toddler's parents had been saving to pay back, I guess, their parents, one of their parents, I guess, for tickets to Utah football. They had been saving this money for a while, and it got shredded. I feel their pain because I put in $2,000 some dollars, $2,800 of a retirement fund that I had at my old job. I didn't want to roll it over, but I cashed it out because I needed to make repairs on my Honda Civic. $2,800. It was over 100,000 miles. It needed new everything, just new everything. So I had a garage, had it for like 3 days. They put new everything on it. It was brand new. They said it's a Honda. It's probably going to be able to go another 100,000 miles without any issues. A month later, it gets totaled in an accident, not my fault. So I basically took $2,800, put it on the ground, lit a match, and went poof. So I feel their pain. Real quick, I mentioned this in my previous story. Rosie Perez has been cast as Renee Montoya in the Birds of Prey film that Margot Robbie is going to be doing as Harley Quinn, and they've done some other casting as well. It's going to feature a Black Canary and Huntress and Harley Quinn, and apparently Renee Montoya also. Also, Matt Bomer of Suits, I guess, good-looking man, has been cast as the Negative Man in the Doom Patrol series. It's going to be on the DC streaming service, which is now live. DC streaming, the Doom Patrol series already looks freaking awesome because they've got Brendan Fraser as Robot Man. They've got Matt Bomer now as Negative Man, who looks like Negative Man. They got who they get? They got a really good actor to play the Chief. I mentioned him last week. I can't remember what his name was. But he has been cast to play the Chief in the Doom Patrol series, and it's going to be it's a good casting. That's all I remember about that. But I honestly can't find the story from last week, so I'm not going to waste my time on this because I got to keep moving. So it looks good. They've shown some pictures from the set, and they've got the costumes down good. They've got the look down for Doom Patrol, and this actually could be a really, really good series. Almost worth getting the DC streaming service, but I'm not going to. I'll wait till it comes out and I'll get it on DVD. But it looks good. All right, we gotta head ourselves here. Whoop. It's after 10 o'clock. More sex. The orgasm capital of the world is Norway. 35% of people who were asked about it, respondents who were asked about this, I guess, of some sort of poll or whatever, said that, you know, they claim an orgasm every day in Norway. Germany is at the bottom with 2.3% saying they have an orgasm every day in Germany. So Norway has the 35% chance. If you go to Norway, you can have an orgasm every day. So take with that as you will. Let's see, comics, Pokemon, Play-Doh poop. Play-Doh has created a new set of Play-Doh poop. You know, the emoji poop, everybody loves that. Well, now they've got a brown-esque type of Play-Doh, which you can create and turn into emoji poop, or just call it poop and make poop. And I can say poop again and say poop lots of the times. So Play-Doh poop is available now at your local store. So, hey, why don't you go pick some up and give some to your family and friends? Why not? You know what else is out there? And I was looking through my pictures today about this, and I saw this again. Poop is the new obsession. We have emoji poop slime. So super cool poopy slime. Slime is a big deal now also. So now they have poopy slime. Poopy slime. Yeah, that's right. Poopy slime. And now Play-Doh poop. The first flying car will be for sale next week. What? It's the first I heard of it. Or next month, excuse me. Next month. It's the first I heard of it. I don't know the full-scale story behind it, but it's a regular size car that apparently is going to be able to fly. So I don't know if that means more like it'll be off the ground for a little bit, maybe move a few feet and have to go, okay, we're too heavy and like that. But you got to start somewhere. So those flying cars might be becoming more of a reality coming right up. All right. Pretty Woman, the musical. I did not know about this, but a friend of mine from high school posted this, that her and her husband went to see it for an anniversary or just because. I guess it makes sense. I mean, that's the new thing nowadays. Ever since the producers back around the turn of the century became a huge hit, mining movies for musicals has been, you know, the new thing. And a lot of the time, it does a really good representation of them. And it makes it kind of a hit musical. So Pretty Woman the musical, I guess I can see that. The story fits it's a fairy tale romance movie. And so why not make it a fairy tale romance musical with the singing and the dancing and stuff like that. But you can take the general storyline and you can keep it running and then just throw some songs in there. You got yourself a musical. So that one might be intriguing to look at. Dawn and I's anniversary was on this past Thursday, October 4th. Thank you, everybody out there who wished us happy anniversary. It's 15 years. I gave her tickets to go see the Book of Mormon. We were going to go see the Book of Mormon on April 6th, 2019. That's a Friday. And we're going to spend the night, no, sorry, it's a Saturday. We're going to spend the night downtown at the Pier 5 Hotel again, which is right on literally Pier 5 at the Inner Harbor, which looks out on the Inner Harbor and at the National Aquarium. And we have a balcony. And there's a Ruth Chris Steakhouse and a McCormick and Schmidt restaurant in the main level of the hotel. And as I said, we're right by the aquarium and Harbor Place, stuff like that. So and perfect spot. So it's going to be wonderful. We did it a couple of years ago. We went to see The Bodyguard. Speaking of musical movies, Book of Mormon, though, was an original story that is eventually going to be made into a movie, probably, but not now. So that's what's going on with that. I got to do at least one Pokemon Go story a day, and there's always also some sports ball stuff I'll be doing as well. Pokemon Go is currently doing their psychic event where only psychic Pokemon, well, not only, but psychic Pokemon are out and about more often. You can catch yourself a shiny, build up your psychic candies, and evolve some stuff as well. It's going to lead eventually to the Halloween event, which will be coming in the next couple of weeks. So huzzah for Pokemon Go. Deoxys, the first new EX raid since Mewtwo, started on October 1st. And Dawn and I and the kids all got a EX raid pass, and Dawn had to do this by herself, but she got all 4 of us Deoxys. So we all have our own Deoxys now, and we're hoping that we're going to get some new EX raid passes tomorrow, and we might be able to get another one. So we'll see. So that's good on that. More comic stuff. Venom is a box office blockbuster despite the critical drubbing it's been receiving. It made over $80 million this weekend, which was $20 million more than they were anticipating it making. It broke the single weekend record for October. So now it has the record for that. And, I have no desire to see Venom because I never liked Venom. MJ Khan went to see it. Maybe when I get him on the show eventually again, he'll tell us all about it. But I've never been a big Venom fan, and I have really no desire to see Venom. And to be honest, you know what? This might sound like blasphemy. I'm not a big fan of Tom Hardy either. And so he's in it, and Venom's in it, and it's Venom as Tom Hardy, and it's successful. So look for more Venom movies to come out eventually, and who knows, maybe they'll work out a deal, maybe get Spider-Man involved with that, because really, I mean, that's what you want to see. Venom is a villain, and you really can't have a interesting Venom story without Spider-Man in it. So that's why it's been critically drubbed. I don't know. Speaking of Spider-Man, I just read Chip Zdarsky's run on Spectacular Spider-Man. It was about 20 issues. Enjoyed it thoroughly. He made some major changes to the Spider-Man mythos, including adding a real sister, who originally was introduced as being a fake sister, but we discovered in this series that she actually is a real Parker and a real blood relative of his. So it'll be intriguing to see if they continue on with that story as well. And also, Peter and his nemesis, J. Jonah Jameson, now have an understanding. He knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and now they're working together in some form or another, and the interplay between them is fantastic. So if you get a chance, check out Chip Zdarsky's Spectacular Spider-Man run. It started with a new issue #1 and then went for like 3 issues, and then they did the legacy thing where they changed the numbering to the original numbering, and that pushed it over 300. So now it's up to about 310, issue 310. He has an annual in there as well. So it's some good stuff. So definitely check that out. Speaking of artwork, Banksy, the mysterious artist who is beloved by everybody in the art world, but nobody really knows who he is, pulled a little prank with one of his paintings. When he created this painting years ago, he was certain that it was going to eventually be auctioned, and he didn't want it to be auctioned. So he decided that he was going to implant a shredder into his painting. And so the minute that he discovers that it goes on the auction block, and the minute that it gets sold, he will be there for that, and he will set the shredder in motion, and it will shred the painting. Happened this weekend. $1.4 million auction for this painting. And Banksy filmed this, but nobody knew who he really was. He filmed this, and he set the remote control. And then just after they sold it for $1.4 million, you can see on the video, the painting slides down and it gets shredded. And the audience is shocked by it. So pretty interesting art thing. And I don't know what you're going to do then. I mean, the person paid $1.4 million for a painting that is now shredded. Does that make it more worth more now because it was shredded? Or what? I don't know, but that's not a problem I have because I'm not a art dealer. Ouch. Being in a happy relationship makes you fat. Oh, no kidding. I'm in a happy relationship, obviously 15 years of marriage, 18 years of being together. You know, wouldn't have it any other way. But the reason why I brought that up, I told this story before, and I want to tell it again because this totally goes with the story. My grandmother passed away a few years ago. And we were at the wake. It really wasn't the wake, or was there viewing? It was the viewing. So it was the viewing. So we were at the viewing, and I was in there with all my cousins and stuff like that. We were just sort of, telling stories like that. When I pulled out a story that I remember more than anything, it connected to my wedding. My grandmother was still alive when I got married, and she obviously was at the wedding and so on and so forth. Well, we didn't see her again until that Christmas. And then it was like the first Christmas that I took Dawn as, husband and wife, and we went to my grandmother's house, and, she said hi to us and all this stuff. And she looked at me and goes, "Man, Dylan, you sure got fat." My grandmother had no filter. And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Oh, no. I meant because Dawn's, obviously feeding you and stuff like that." Sure, Grandma. But I always thought that was a funny story. And yes, I am a little bit more chunky than expected. I wasn't this bad when we first started dating, but yeah, being in a happy relationship, I mean, I don't need to, work out or make myself, Mr. Studley guy, because I think Dawn loves me more than for just my body, though. Well, we're not going to get into that. And so, just like that, Scott's going to make a comment. Great news. So I'll let Luke know he's the reason I gained so much weight. Yes, absolutely. It's science, Scott. Tell Luke this is your fault that I'm fat, because being in a happy relationship makes you fat. That's science. You take that to the bank. It is. That's what science. So there we go. So, yep. Dad bods are in, man. That's awesome. Lightsaber dog leash. A leash for your dog that looks like a lightsaber, has LED lights, and makes lightsaber noises. For the Star Wars fan and the dog fan, there you go. The Infinity Gauntlet lamp is another item you can pick up for Christmas. It's the Infinity Gauntlet, but all the stones are lights, and it lights up, and it's a nice little lamp. It's kind of a neat little kitschy type of thing as well. I missed this discussion or trailer. There is a new Spider-Man movie coming out this year, but it's animated, and it's called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and it looks really, really good. They released another trailer this week as well, which showed more of what's going on. It's based on the Spider-Verse comic book story where Spider-Man from alternate realities came together to help stop a bad guy. So we got to see a bunch of different Spider-Mans. We get to see regular Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Ghost Spider, who used to be known as Spider-Gwen, Spider-Ham, Noir Spider-Man, and a few other ones as well are going to be in it. So it looks interesting, looks good. It's animated. I will probably see that one. So good on that. Carlos Esquerra, who is one of the creators of Judge Dredd, passed away this week as well. I don't know what his age was, but I think he was younger than Scott Wilson was, who also passed away this week, but I talked about him already. So a lot of people don't know that, but the creator of Judge Dredd has passed away this week as well. Steven Spielberg is remaking West Side Story, and I really don't know why. It is going to be a musical, but I don't understand why you need to remake it. And I'm probably not going to go see it. No offense, Mr. Spielberg, but just not going to do it. In the world of AI, self-driving pizza cars are now a thing. You call up, I think it's Pizza Hut now, or Domino's or whatever, and some places are sending self-driving cars to deliver your pizza. So don't worry about a pizza delivery guy coming. You just You go out to the car and you pick up your pizza, and the car drives away. You might not even have to tip them either. So self-driving pizza is coming your way soon. Twin Peaks is one of my favorite shows. I talked about it before. They've created a virtual reality game for Twin Peaks that they're going to show off at a Twin Peaks festival, which will give you a chance to experience the Red Room, the waiting room, and other aspects of Twin Peaks as well, using the VR virtual reality sort of glasses thing. So that's always kind of neat, because it'd be kind of neat to find yourself in the Red Room, waiting room type of thing, and just looking around and being like, wow, this is kind of crazy. So some sports ball stuff. The Baltimore Ravens lost to the Cleveland Browns today, 12-9. Yeah, I know it sounds like a baseball score, but it was not a great game for the Ravens. But again, it's only week 5, and there's a lot of football left, and the Browns were very ecstatic. And to be honest, neither team really knocked it out of the park. They had to go to overtime to finish it up, and all the way down to almost the end of overtime to get that score in. So, and the Baltimore Orioles, my baseball team, has made some big changes. They made some big changes this summer when they got rid of a lot of their big players. They've also now released their general manager, Dan Duquette, and the manager, Buck Showalter. So we're going to start over fresh, and we'll see how that is. Let's just say next baseball season is not going to be all that exciting to me. But after this year, who knows? Speaking of sports ball, one last sports ball story. This is just kind of cool. Just seeing the video itself is kind of neat. So some regular reporter in the middle of some high school basketball court is at midcourt, and he's doing some sort of story about what is a human story, which is about a principal at this school who surprised his students because they thought he wasn't going to be able to make a shot from the midcourt of basketball. Of a basketball court in there. There was probably some sort of fundraising thing. He said he was going to try to do it and stuff like that. So he actually makes the basket. So it's a fluff piece. Why not? So this reporter goes to the school, and he starts talking about the story, and he's bouncing a basketball. So he's looking at you. The basketball net is behind him. He's at midcourt. And so he's just bouncing the ball, and then to make an emphasis, and a principal who surprises his schoolmates, and then is like, and that's the end of the story. And he flings the basketball behind him, not even expecting anything to happen. But what happens next is really funny, because the basket is in sight. Remember, he's at half court. This guy just out of nowhere just flings it over his back, not even looking, and it goes into the basket. And the other the cameraman and the other people who are with him, sound people who are with him, you can hear him go, oh, ooh. And the guy reporter's like, what happened? And then he looks behind him, and he's like, did that go in? Do you have it? He couldn't believe it. He was totally shocked that he threw just behind his back, without even thinking, the basketball, and it landed in the basket from midcourt. It's a cute little fun story, and I like that. Michelle Williams, who was in the aforementioned Venom, has been cast to play Kristen McAuliffe in a movie about the Challenger disaster. I guess it's 1986, so 32 years ago. So I guess it's maybe about time for a movie about it. I guess enough time has gone by. Toys R Us is scrapping bankruptcy and are beginning plans for reorganization. So Toys R Us may be back sooner than later. I won't expect it to be back until the new year. I doubt they would be able to reorganize, get the stores re-up and running, and employees hired and all this stuff in time for Christmas. I would assume this would probably be something that'll happen in 2019. They'll be able to start fresh from there. It's a good sign for people who missed Toys R Us and thought it was kind of rough that they got screwed, but bankruptcy's been canceled and they're reorganizing, and maybe they won't open as many stores, but at least it's a good sign that Toys R Us may be coming back to the forefront, and maybe they're going to update it for the 21st century. Who knows? Okay. We'll leave. I got a bunch of science stuff, and then we'll leave the science stuff for my last stories. 17-year-old dies from a stroke after his girlfriend gives him hickeys. Again, that's up there with the brain-eating amoebas as a what the hell type of death. So you're in the midst of sexual pleasure, whatever, with the hickeys and stuff like that, and you get a bunch of them from your girlfriend, and then next thing you know, you have a stroke and you're dead. That's it's kind of weird. Again, up there with that brain-eating amoeba type of thing. So, not only are animals, starting to make a movement, but weird deaths are starting to really start. Random weird deaths are starting to make an appearance again as well. Was she a succubus? Maybe, absolutely, maybe. But still, it's a rough story, and we've all at one point or another given hickeys. Obviously, I mean, there was a woman I dated in college that she loved when she was a vampire kind of fan, and she loved when I did that type of stuff to her neck. So that's, again, you don't need to know that stuff. Speaking of succubus or succubi, this isn't really a succubi, but a man tells police that a ghost stabbed him in the head with an axe, and planted meth on him. A ghost implanted an axe into a head and planted meth on him. That's up there with the wind blew packs of crack into my purse, which was another excuse done by someone else down the line. In Maryland, actually, a ghost puts an axe in my head and plants meth on me. Now, ghosts are getting all crazy and weird. Something weird's happening here. Should we do some science? Let's do some science. I'll do some science, and I'll have one last entertainment story, and then we'll do the anniversary stuff, and then check ID, and we'll get out of here probably by 11 o'clock. All right. Science, particularly space stuff. You know what? We'll do space stuff last because I got more space stuff than I do regular science stuff. Blood cells have been turned into human egg cells. Now, I don't know the process on how that happened, or what is that supposed to, is it supposed to help pregnancies? You take blood cells and turn them into healthy egg cells to help people get pregnant, maybe. I mean, I guess that's a good idea if they're having trouble getting pregnant. I guess taking just blood cells and being able to change them, it just seems different and odd, but it's science, and I guess if you can do it, you can do it, and they apparently can do it. So I'm still trying to figure out the application for that, but I mean, I guess it would be to try to help people who can't get pregnant, because you inject them with blood cells or inject them with egg cells that you got from their blood. I mean, I guess that would help just give you a little bit better chance to maybe get pregnant. I don't know. Just kind of an interesting science story. That's why I wanted to bring it up on my show. Space stuff now. Feels like I've done a story about the Curiosity rover for the last month or so, but it's a fascinating thing. A rover on another planet, studying and taking pictures of another planet, driving around. Well, both rovers on Mars have experienced issues. One is still on the 45-day countdown where they're trying to get it back online. But the Curiosity rover has activated its backup brain on Mars. So it's bypassing its bad brain, which apparently we don't know why that happened, and is now using a backup brain. So it's going to get back into action very soon. So that's good for those who want to see some more stuff from the Curiosity rover. The hopping landers that the Japanese landed on an asteroid, one of them has been destroyed. It somehow hit the wrong thing, or it hit something it wasn't supposed to, and it's all gone. There's another one still on it, so they're still getting stuff on there, but good on that. This is a neat story. No, actually, I'll save it for the end. A goblin dwarf planet has been discovered in our solar system. A dwarf planet is what they're calling Pluto now. In our system, that is proof that there is a giant planet in our solar system somewhere that they haven't been able to find yet. There's been news about a giant planet in our solar system forever, it seems like, because of the way rotations work for some of the outer planets. And now some of these more dwarf planets that we're starting to find that are still in our solar system are acting weird also. And it just goes to show there's got to be some sort of giant planet out there that we have not discovered yet that is messing up the gravitational forces of those things and making it act in a weird way. So the discovery of this goblin dwarf planet has invigorated NASA and made them say, here, we know there's another planet out there. We just haven't found it yet. But here's proof that it's out there, and we just need to look for it and find it. And maybe now they'll be able to know what they're looking for, because now they're going to have some more info that they can use to input in stuff and check things out. And maybe they'll find it out there soon. On the same line, this isn't something, but I just thought of this. We're getting closer. I think next year, the new Horizons probe that went past Pluto a couple years ago is now getting closer to its other dwarf planet that it was going to go visit now. So we're going to get our first look at a completely different dwarf planet we've never even known before. They showed a picture of it, and it's on target, and they showed it in the picture, so it's pretty good. We're going to see that as well. But this is kind of cool. This is the last science story, and then I'll do an entertainment story, and then we'll move on. The search for exoplanets, which are planets that are not in our solar system, has been a humongous success. Millions of new planets have been discovered in other galaxies. Last week, I talked about planet Vulcan, a planet, only one planet that circles a star that is used in the show Star Trek. They use this star name, that the planet that Spock is from circles this star, and they actually found a planet that circles this star, so they called it Vulcan. So they found Vulcan. That was last week's story. This week, Kepler, which is one of the telescopes and satellites that have been looking for these exoplanets, well, they had discovered this already. It was a giant Jupiter-sized exoplanet that's orbiting a star not too far away from us. They knew it was there. They've had this one discovered for years. But they discovered something new that they haven't discovered yet, and this is a first. They've discovered the first exomoon that is orbiting this Jupiter-sized planet that Kepler found a few years ago. But what makes it even more interesting is the Kepler planet's about the size of Jupiter. Now, it's freaking huge because Jupiter is probably the biggest object in our solar system this side of the sun. So this exoplanet outside of Kepler that Kepler discovered is the size of Jupiter. The moon that they just discovered this week that is orbiting this exoplanet is the size of Neptune. Now, Neptune's not small. It's not as big as Jupiter and Saturn or the Sun, but it's way bigger than Earth and Venus and Mars and Mercury all put together. If you put all of them in Neptune, you'd have a ton of space. So here we have a giant Jupiter-sized planet that has a moon that's just a little bit smaller, a Neptune-sized planet. That is just cool. That is really cool. And that's what makes space really cool and exciting. So to be continued, but a Neptune-sized planet orbiting a Jupiter-sized planet. Just cool. That's it for science and space. My last entertainment story of the day. Lady Gaga fans are accused of spreading negative reviews of Venom to help bulk up A Star is Born's opening weekend. Obviously didn't work since Venom made $80 million in its opening weekend, but you know what? A Star is Born made $45 million for a musical type of remake. Not too shabby, but just a funny story that, you know, something along the lines of DC fans have been doing negative comments on some of these other movies and dropping down their Rotten Tomato scores, which, to be honest, really shouldn't even be looked at as being a gauge of how popular a movie is. Obviously, with Venom's Rotten Tomato score is way down low, but the $80 million it made is a sign that we don't care. This week, 58 years ago, the Flintstones premiered in 1960. Angel, the spinoff of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, premiered 19 years ago in 1999. 28 years ago, 90210 premiered. Pushing Daisy premiered 11 years ago, 2007. 1950, the cartoon Peanuts was first published. Charlie Brown, Snoopy, Woodstock, all that stuff. You know them. Ants, the DreamWorks answer to Disney's Pixar's A Bug's Life, with Woody Allen and Sylvester Stallone as the voice of the ants, is now 20 years old. Came out in 1998. Zombieland came out in 2009, so that's 9 years old. The sequel is being filmed right now. Come out next year, I think, in time for its 10-year anniversary. Why not? The Mighty Ducks came out in 1992 this week. Cool Runnings came out in 1993 this week, about the Jamaican bobsledding team and one of the last performances of the late, great John Candy. 1971, Disney World opened over down in Florida. 1971, so that makes it 45, 46, 47 years ago. 1968, 50 years ago, Night of the Living Dead premiered, which is kind of cool. This week, someone was showing it live on Facebook. The original Night of the Living Dead, which has been the grandfather of all zombie films, premiered this week in 1968, 50 years ago. The cartoon Mask, about people in flying cars, which I talked about earlier, came out 33 years ago. And Charmed, the Alyssa Milano, Shannon Doherty, Rose McGowan, Holly Marie Combs series, which is being rebooted next week, is also 20 years old and came out in 1998 this week. That is everything that I have newsworthy. I did get through it pretty quickly. Let's do Check I Day real quick, and then let's get the heck out of Dodge. Maybe we can get done before 11. That would be awesome. All right, let's see. Boom. Boom. All right, today, October 7th. We've lost stuff for tomorrow. Bathtub Day. Change a light day. I need to do that to our stairway lights. We lost the top one, so I got to do that. Country Inn Bed and Breakfast Day is today. Intergeneration Day is today. International African Diaspora Day is today. International Blessings of the Fishing Fleet Day. National Flower Day is today. National Frappe Day was today. National Inner Beauty Day was today. National LED Light Day was today. World Communion Sunday was today. You Matter to Me Day, trademarked, was today. Yesterday, the 6th of October, was Come and Take It Day, Garlic Lovers Day, Inter-American Water Day, International Frugal Fun Day, Jack Mayer Rehab Day, Mad Hatter Day, National German American Day, National Noodle Day, National Physician's Assistant Day, National Plus Size Appreciation Day, World Card Making Day. Friday, October 5th was Do Something Nice Day, Global James Bond Day, Manufacturing Day, National Apple Betty Day, National Denim Day, National Diversity Day, National Get Funky Day, National Storytelling Day, Platter Day, it's October 5th, World Smile Day, World Teachers Day. October 4th, I'm just going to give you just this one. It was the blessing of the animals at the cathedral day. Dawn and I were on a walk today on our main street. We passed a church that was doing a blessing of the animals today. So it was kind of cool seeing all these dogs getting, they were all dogs because, most people can bring dogs out and not cats. But all these dogs getting blessed by priests was really kind of cool. Tomorrow, October 8th day, which is Monday, we have Alvin C. York Day, American Touch Tag Day, Columbus Day. I also think it's Canadian Thanksgiving tomorrow, I think. Indigenous Peoples Day. International Lesbian Day is tomorrow. National Fluffernutter Day. National Kick Butt Day. Yeah. National Online Banking Day. National Pierogi Day. Native American Day. And World Octopus Day are all tomorrow. So that's it. That is it. Scott, I want to thank you for watching again. Also, I know I got some other viewers popped in here and there. Thank you for watching as well. Next week, we have Walking Dead Day at the local comic book stores. So go to the local comic book store next week, get a free Walking Dead comic, and maybe they'll have some sales on Walking Dead merch as well. Walking Dead came back this week. Hopefully it was a good one. Doctor Who came back this week also, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I recorded it, and I'm going to watch that with my family tomorrow or sometime this week probably before the new episode comes out. And, that's it. I mean, it's Columbus Day tomorrow. I think it's Canadian Thanksgiving Day tomorrow. So we've got a lot of interesting things coming up tomorrow. The rest of the week, who knows? Just going to be, seems like another week. Hopefully I'll be able to get my Halloween stuff up. I just didn't, because I was feeling like crap. I didn't get them up today or this weekend. So we'll see what happens. We're going apple picking next weekend. So we got stuff going on with that. So I think I'll be able to do my show early on Saturday because I heard that they're going to do, as I said, more sci-fi movies on Saturday, and there's not really much else going on this Saturday. And Sunday we're doing the apple picking, so I think I might do my show next Saturday afternoon. So we'll see. Just keep an eye on my Twitter page. I will send out. I was hoping to do it this afternoon, but things just took off in a different direction and whatever. But I got it done. Got it done before 11 o'clock. I'm going to go upstairs and go to bed because work comes tomorrow. I'm probably going to go to work tomorrow because I'm feeling better. I still don't feel 100%, but, I really can't afford to take another day off. So thanks for watching. Next week, keep an eye out for a brand new episode of the Comic Hall, my comic book show that I do, and new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 264 with all kinds of cool stuff. Monday, we'll start getting news stories to get built up. If you want to hear some of the stories, if you want to see some of the stories I'm going to be talking about, probably, if you have Facebook, check Facebook pages. That's a lot of where I get a lot of my stories. So if you're not on Facebook, sometimes you might be able to find some of these on Twitter, but it's always fun to hear them from me, isn't it? Take care. Have a groovy Sunday night. It's the end of the first week of October. Fall is coming. Well, it's here, actually, and cold weather is coming here on the East Coast soon. Bye now.